everyone makes mistakes, and I'm no different. I recently noticed quite a glaring error on my recent book, and it's a bit embarrassing to be totally honest, but it's something that I just had to deal with immediately. Thankfully, it's been sorted very swiftly, but even so, it shouldn't have happened, and I've only just noticed, and it's my book's been out for nearly 2 months now, so I was like, wow, so sometimes something you just it's just an oversight. Just think, how could I not see that? And it's just, I guess we just see what we want to see. Now, if we talk about self-preservation, it makes more sense not to even raise awareness to it, make the change, get on with it. I prefer to show the flaws and even the successes, the things we're good at, and then sometimes the things we mess up with. I've always felt that's important. Share the whole journey to something, rather than people put others on a pedestal and think, "Oh, look at this." No, no, no. We all make mistakes. We're all going to have issues. It's just dealing with it though when you see it. So like, I designed the book. I create the book, everything part of it. And I made a huge problem here down the spine. So on the front, it's perfectly fine. Follow your dreams to sparkle your soul. Absolutely fine. You can see it. But down the spine, I've put follow your dreams to sparkle your dreams. I was like, I didn't. And it's because I was doing something specific. I'm going to explain that in a moment. And that's when I noticed it. I went, shit. Like, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. How the hell I never noticed that? I don't no idea. Again, I think you just see what you want to see. You see the front's fine. The back's exactly the same as the front, so that's perfectly fine. So I guess you just see, just convince yourself it's okay. Like, why would I think there's any problem with it? So I want to show like how that came to be, the thing I'm working on. So that was a glaring problem that I fixed immediately. Yeah, so that's no longer the issue. It's been updated. Fine. But so this is the whole point: creative mistakes and growth. So there's areas to improve, but also there's things we can. So that's the thing to improve them, but it come from the fact that I thought I need to push myself a little bit here. I need to do something in terms of like marketing my books. I can be lazy sometimes quite a lot with marketing. And you just think, for instance, look, I'm not saying I'm a professional with all the branding and all that sort of stuff, but I have at least like, what do you call it? Intermediate level of creativity in that sphere, in terms of like promoting your work. So what I think naturally is, if you was to pay someone to promote your book on a website, for instance, what would that look like? How much would that cost? Oh, I'll do it myself. So I just had a concept in my mind. I thought it needs to be thin. I don't want nothing big, because I've got my own website. So we're going to show it in a moment. I don't want nothing too big and bashful. I don't want it to take up the whole content. It's not the point. It's just a way just to get it noticed. So for me, it was really important that we keep this thin. And so anyone knows anything about like graphic design and all those sort of things, I did. So I was going with. So we talk about pixel lengths and things. I don't know what you guys call it, length pixel. Anyway, so I did 800 by 200, and I was like, that should be good. 200 was too wide, so I dropped it to 150, too wide. 100, I was like surprised. 100 was the better margin than 200. And I tried 800, but it wasn't quite long enough, so I did 900, but I left it there. Anyway, this is little stats, little bits of information, dimensions, if you like. So we've shown the problem there, and I'm going to show it here on the screen a little bit better. If I get it all working, what am I doing? Okay, so here we are. This is the mock-up, because what I'm doing banners. And to do banners, I kind of need to work off my books. First of all, I need the ebook version without all the back and the spine and stuff. So I use the front cut, just the front. Right, that'd be a good image for the banner. Now we need a background. Well, I don't want just a point. What's the point of having a pointless background? We might as well do the cover color, the bit of the cover on as a background. I think that'd be a good layer. So, of course, that's where I've come to this book, and I've looked and I've gone, wait a minute. Why does that say? Because I show you, to explain how I actually come to figure this out. And just looking at it there, I still didn't notice it. It was only when I did this. So what I would do, I haven't got the layer here actually. We've got the layer here because I've changed it now. You can see this is all that how I create my book. I use the margins here so I can see what the hell I'm doing. This is just a final copy, so it's not an actual work in progress. Why there's no layers on the right hand side there. This printed one is it hasn't got the layers either. It's just for some reason that's got no layers at all. I'm not sure what's happened there. Don't know if I've saved it without layers. That could be a problem. I'll deal with it later. 'Cause I saved it separately. So I'm not really sure what's happened there, but okay. So I can't mimic this one now, unfortunately, because this is just, if there's no layers, I can't split it apart. Okay, but anyway, in the other example, I had this text and I was dragging it, and then I put it over to this. Is it this one here? And then, so because it's thingy there, I would. So, for instance, if we just, I'll show you what it looked like a little bit. Let's see if we can do this, because just to make it a bit more sensible, so you can actually understand what I'm talking about. So I drag it over, but of course it was vertical. So what we do, just to make it so clear exactly what I was working with, transform, and we'll just make it vertical. I think I did that. Actually, I could have just done that, flip vertical. I didn't do that. I did this one. I did rotate counterclockwise 90 degrees. So let's just do it counterwise. So we do it that way. Now you can see the text completely wrong way. And it was a lot bigger, so I've had to scale it as well. So for instance, I was having to mess about because it was huge. In reference to this. It was all like this, yeah. It's massive. I had to keep bringing it down and down and down. And then to save time, because I usually do rotate, but I thought like manually with the shift button. But I was like, wait a minute, why don't we just do counterclockwise? Move it here, apply the transformation, and then we drag it up. Now, of course, I've just done sizing, so I've just messed it up. It's not. I'm just going to do back when I finish. But of course, when I'm looking at it, it's in front of my face now. I can't hide. I can't get away from the writing. And that said dreams. So if we just change this a minute, that said dreams. So and you can't miss it, can you? I'm looking at it going, what the hell is it talking about? Follow your dreams to sparkle your dreams. Why the hell would it say that? So I'm looking at the front cover design that I've got here as the image. Well, it doesn't say that. So of course I've gone to the version that was printed, and I was like, wait a minute, that says dreams there. That's why it's copied over. So I've had to go and check the published version, and I'm like, wait, that says dreams. And I've gone to get my book, and I'm like, that says dreams. I'm like, oh shit, what a stupid thing. And I don't even know if I don't think I'd have ever picked that up if I wasn't doing these little banners. There would be no reason for me to notice it unless someone else ever noticed it. So of course I've had to go into the other one and fix it, and then fix it here. And now I'm going, okay. So I just thought I'd show a little bit of the creatives, how I come to do these designs. It's not even complicated. I just had an idea in my head, and I thought it has to be thin. I want the title name. I was thinking of actually including a bit of text from the book, like a little, like a quote. But where'd you put it? And that was an idea I was going with. I was going to add a quote from each of the books, if it would help. But there's only so much space. So immediately, the first thing I'm doing is the book. Let's get let's compact this book down. Again, that was big, made it smaller, fit it right in here. Enough that you can see. I don't want it to be sort of obscure, but I don't want it to be sort of too popping out where it makes it just look out of place. I think it has to blend. So I've done that, put a little bit of drop shadow in. So we take the drop shadow off. Oh, it's the wrong one. Wait a minute. I'll find the book. That's the drop shadow. The book. There you go. So you can see it shifting the little shadow in the background now of the book. So I did that one. And I just put, well, okay, what I want is out now. I want people to know it's available. This isn't just like promoting something that's not available. So let's add out now. And then I just went on, I Googled Amazon logo, and I think it's an SVG. I think they're called SVGs, where it's literally a logo and there's no background to it. And I can change the color of it. So normally, if I don't have it, I'll show it here. If you check the little Amazon logo there, I've got to try and figure out which item is the logo, by the way. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so we can take it off. If I take this color off now, I think it's black text with the orange swoop, which I like the orange swoop, but I can't, unless I go looking for another copy, I just couldn't bother. That's what it naturally looks like. And I'm like, well, that don't look good. You can see the orange, but I can't read the writing. So I had to make it white, which changed the whole, every item, every piece of it was what. But I think that's not a bad trade-off. Yeah, okay, we do that. Put that underneath there. It's out now. It's on Amazon. We know we've got the book. So I'm thinking, I'm doing all right here on my own. I'm not hiring people. That's what I'm trying to show. I do everything myself. I just have an idea in my head and let's see if I can do it. I know I can. It's just putting the effort in. So, of course, I've gone into the book, for instance. Let's say I'm here or whatever copy I've got. And all I would do is just use this. Let's say I wanted to use a bit of space. I'll just go here. Don't want that because then the object just looks stupid. So if you do this, and then I'm doing that, and then I just do layer via copy, for instance. And then I just drag that layer. Where was I going? Over here? It's going to cover everything now, but look, I'll do it here, and then I go, right, how big has it got to be? Because I want it to scale down as best I can, because otherwise it's all the blur. The bigger it is, the blurrier it is. So I want to keep messing. There's obviously going to be people probably got faster ways to do things than I do, but it works, doesn't it? It works. So all you do is do that, and of course you need this because it's the back layer. We need to make sure this back layer is at the bottom. Otherwise, we lose all the text and everything above it, below it. I mean, so we want it behind the book. So now, look, we can have the version exist or my version. I think they're both exactly the same. Weirdly enough, very similar. Thinking my new one might actually be a little bit better. Might actually keep that one. I think it doesn't have as much blur going over, does it? I don't think they matter, to be totally honest. But you see how simple that was. And then, like I said, I've just dragged the text over so I don't have to retype it all up for the label, for the logo. So using the spine, it makes it easier. It's in that block. Then we've got my name at the bottom, and then that's simply it, isn't it? What we've done, level. And I was like, that was the first one I did, and I just thought, well, I've got 7 books. Yeah, I find it I find it a bit annoying, to be totally honest. But it's just a case of I was sitting there already. Why don't you just get on with it? So ultimately, what's happened here is I've done all of them. So it started with the first one, and I just used the same concept. So all I did was dragged over, like for instance, if you got the book, I would just drag the book and put it exactly over the previous book, and that's how I went about doing this design. I think that looks a bit abrupt. I might have to look into this one. Not sure why that cut off is there. This big square line. I don't like that. I don't know if I'll fix that or not, because is it a big deal? I don't know. But yeah, like I say, I wanted all the out nows to be roughly exactly the same space in alignment, and then the books are pretty much in alignment as best they can be. The writing is a bit off center, but in some bits, but it's depending on where things fell. For instance, Follow Your Dream, Spark Your Soul. It's got dots everywhere. You go in the wrong space, you can't read it properly. And then again, like with my other books at the bottom there. And I'm going to show the creative side to doing this now, because these ones at the bottom with the clouds, you'd probably think that's quite simple. It wasn't. It wasn't too complicated, but there's a little process to it that's a bit mimicky that you wouldn't probably expect. But again, I've done all them myself. I think they're perfectly fine. So just to showcase them a little bit, putting them in, they've all got links as well. So if you click it, it'll take you to Amazon. But let's say I'll go on my website, because this was the point. I was sitting there thinking, I don't want to put external adverts on my web pages, because you don't know what's going to be generated. And what's the point of me advertising someone else's content when I have books to sell anyway? Like, it makes no sense. Just promote my own stuff. Okay, you might get money for promoting someone else's stuff, but I'd rather just promote mine. I've got control over it. Hence why I wanted the banners. So let's say, for instance, we just jump into let's do Tim Burton's movies. Right, we'll do top 10 Tim Burton movies. I'm not doing it in any way that's obtrusive. I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to ruin people's experience. Don't want to make it a pain in the ass. And I'm making sure if it's a really long page, then I can add 3 banners. If it's not big, I'll do 2. I'm not. There's a method to the madness, if you like. But anyway, not making it obtrusive here. You're just scrolling down, and it's just in between these 2. So I've done this one there. I center it. Again, it's not a full width banner, but I couldn't bother keep making it wider and wider and wider. I mean, I could do if I want to be a perfectionist, but I think it's fine. Differentiates it. And you scroll down a little bit more, and then we've got another one. And I think there's one more. Yeah, okay, there's another one there. So there's never more than 3, but that's only on a really long page anyway. And because I've got 7, I can mix them up so people don't keep seeing the same one on every page, because I thought that could get really annoying. And I think sometimes I try and colour match or theme match it a little bit. Oh, this one, because I don't know why I did. Oh, because I think the cover design of this one's a bit like that colour. So I went with that one. But yeah, anyway, this is just why this was the only reason I was making the banners. And I just thought, when I'm doing other websites and things, it's the work's done, isn't it? And then I've got a notepad open now. I've made a notepad file with all the links to Amazon links, because like, they're all fair links, but I can get a little commission on them. So I can make money out of the royalties for my book, but also have a little commission from Amazon for recommending the book. It's a strange thing, but it makes no sense not to do that. It doesn't affect anybody. It's just a way just to generate a little bit of money in my end. rather than just the Amazon link in the web browser. I can just use an affiliate link that I can generate, and it's just, again, it doesn't cost anyone, so it makes no difference. But yeah, so, and the good thing about this is, let's say people got ad blockers on their websites, and for websites, it's not an advert, it's an image that's linked that I've made. So it's not even an ad. It's not an ad. It's not anything that's scripted. So it couldn't get removed if someone tried. So yeah, but I think they look all right. I like them. Could have made that one a bit more bold, I guess, but I didn't want it to overlap too much with the book and not be able to see it. So, but again, I did it myself. Didn't pay no one for that. Nice. So what I thought I'd do while I'm doing this, again, we've seen the flaw with the title of the book. Yeah, we've done it. We fixed it. It's not a big deal. I just want to show that the negative side, but also the positive side. Like we can be creative. And I spent a long time doing all this, by the way, because I had to keep adding it to the website. So I'm editing the website while I do it. So every time I do one, I'm sort of adding that one. Then I'm going, wait a minute, I don't want it. We need some more. So we better do the next ones. And I did all of them in the end. So if we look at my A Father's Daughter one, I had to redo the entire like the title there in the way to match it exactly how the original was. So I had to redo it completely. And then I decided black would be better on this. Maybe it'd have been black would have been better on the original as well. I don't know, but I just thought here it makes it bolder. And then of course I matched that with the out now on Amazon. But where it got a bit more tricky was this cloud. Like you'd think that's just one image. It's not. In fact, I'd say the trickier one I did was the A Heartbroken Daughter. Let me just see if I can load. I don't know if I can load that one. A lot of hassle. Okay, so I've got the Heartbroken Daughter one, so you can see the two differences. This one was more complicated because in the original book, there's text in the way and all sorts. So I had to find the original photo, which was a bit lost. I finally found it, and I realised I actually did a lot of mimicking with this book. But people probably won't know that with the cover design. The original photo, the clouds were it wasn't a very good sky, and it was all sorts. So the photo weren't that good. So what I used was the actual clouds from A Father's Daughter, the background there, and I made it bolder. And then there was a lot of mimicking with that book cover I did. So it was layers, and I didn't realise, and I forgot all about it until I went to do this. So when I tried to copy the image over, it was a mess. Like it was a bit of a pain. And I was like, oh no. Right, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to just edit out my image. So that's what I did. So see this, don't know if I can get it. This one, isn't it? There you go. So as you can see, I've actually made. Oh God, is it good? It does this sometimes. It's just stupid. You click something and it goes on to something else. But I've actually separated us from the image, and that took me a little bit of time getting it right. But I did that. So what I'm trying to say is that's completely separate. Yeah. So we know this is a separate image to the rest of it. So what we're gonna do is remove that layer so you not complicate it. And then what you probably won't realise, you probably think that's a seamless image. It's not. It's this. So it started with, let me get rid of that one. It started with this layer here. So all I've done is from the Father's Daughter, I think it was. Yeah. So if we go back here, forget the layers, we just go to the first clip of that, because even that's in layers. So it would probably just work for me, actually, it'd be easier. All these are just layers of this first one. So what I would have done with the other part is this. This is all I would have done. I would have gone, so we've got to make sure we select the layer. And of course, what I don't want to do is duplicate that. That makes no sense because that would just be me repeated. Yeah, so we don't want that. So all I did was go from Near Enough Me, go to here, and to the end. It only picks the layer. So even if I went on the blue, it wouldn't make a difference because it's not an image. It's just whatever's layer is available. So it's that one. In fact, I don't think I've even done the bottom of that. Let me just go over it. There you go. Right, and then what we do is layer via copy. Again, people have got easier ways to do things, but I just do this. Layer via copy. And then to make sure it doesn't go up and down, because we really don't want that. We don't want up and down because then it's misaligned. I just use the right key on my keyboard, and I got all the way over. It won't go that far because it's not a very big setup there. And I go over until I see a gap. When we go a gap, we know that's the background. So we know we've gone one level too fast. We just want to make sure we don't see a line. There's a little line there. Now there's not a line, yeah? And what you'd say is, that don't look good. Oh, actually, wait a minute. We've got to get rid of that. Yeah, that's where I messed up. Yeah. Right, okay. We're going to delete that layer a minute. Again, these are little things you have to just do. Right, let me get rid of that layer. What we can't see here behind my text, normally I'd take the text away to make it easier. There's a little item that's in the way. So we just, because we want it as clear as we want. Get it there. Right. Layer by copy. And then we just move it over again. And what we'll do, we'll layer it over that other bit. As soon as I see that thing there, it should be around about here. Now, you probably think that's all right. I can't really see a problem with that. There's not a split. There is a split. Let me see if I can get it in. I don't know if you can see that faint split there. Let's go further in just to see it. Here. Now, if you repeated that over and over, that's gonna be quite obvious. It's tiled. So all I do every time I do things like this is just all you do is go to transform and then just flip horizontal. So all we're doing is making this side, which makes sense because that's if you before you moved it, this side here was the end of this. So it would match perfect because you're just mirroring it like this. And I do that an awful lot of some of the work I do. It's just so simple. Again, people might have easier ways of doing it. So again, look at this line. It's quite obvious, apparent. Watch how much it blends just by transforming it and flipping it. You can't see a split. There's no split because it's exactly the same end and beginning. So if we go back again, you can see it's quite apparent. So if you just layered it, it would just look a mess. It'd be evidently tiled. Now it just looks the same. And rather than keep cutting and pasting like that, all we do is go here, duplicate the layer because we've already got the right size now we want to work with. Cut it. We do that, and all we're doing is moving it again until we see a little blue gap. So wait for that little blue gap. It's now. Yeah, now there's no gap. But again, tiled. So all we're going to do is we're going to layer that one again. Horizontal. And that's all I'm doing. It's a little bit timey, but it's not that big a deal. I mean, I'd much rather do it like this than mess about doing it any other way. Again, duplicate layer. Drag it again. It's just, you go in autopilot because you know what you're doing. You know what you're looking for. You know what you want to accomplish. See, that had a little gap there, I think. I'm not sure if that has a gap. I don't think that does. Right. Transform. And okay, you got one little bit, but you just got to treat it like it's one big bit. That's all you got to do. Duplicate again. There you go. All the way. Don't get lazy and go, oh, I've already covered the space. No. It has to match again. Remember, it has to touch. And then horizontal. Then what we'll do, we'll zoom out. And then it's there. And then let's get the book's obviously hidden layer. What layer is it hidden behind? Or maybe I have to shut the book off. What's this one then? I'll stay out now. I'm trying to find out where I put the book now. I think it's this one. Yeah. It's a layer I just turned off. But anyway, that's how I did it. It's similar to the way I did where I just did that cut there. Oh, that one's a complete mess at this point, isn't it? But again, it's just the same layering. So that would be the original image. You see how this image would have been. And I looked at that and I just thought that's going to be a nightmare. If I have to cut and paste the sand and the sky, that's just going to be half orange along here and half blue there. And I don't think that looks very good on a banner. It just looks split. And I thought, I don't want it split. That would look bad. So if I can cut the image, if I can cut myself out and my daughter out. Oh, what have I done? I've got to try and figure out where the layers are now. And then I should be on the top of that, I think. Now that me. Right, so I've got to get rid of one of these layers. It's just one of them's been a pain. It's this one, I think. There you go. Now, of course, I've resized myself, so I've messed that up a little bit. I can't remember what I did with that. Similar to that, anyway. But I just thought that looks cleaner than like half sand, half sky. It's just the same. So it's exactly the same cover. Look, if you look at the background, take all the layers off, it's exactly the same background. But because the design's slightly different in the colour there, I think they come across slightly different, you know. So if we was to go back to the main site there, you know, they look very similar, but I think, you know, I think it goes well with the theme, doesn't it? They're both part of the same series, so just put them together. Job done. So yeah, it's not as complicated as it perhaps looks. You might look and think, oh, they look fancy. Again, it was just a process. You know, it started with the first one. We're just getting making a mini version of the book. You're not creating it, you know, you're just dragging it down, scaling it down. You've already decided the dimensions of the banner, put an out now word in, Amazon logo, put a little bit of like depth really by putting a drop shadow on the book to give it a little bit better background punch there. I didn't do that with Father's Daughter, the other two at the bottom there. I can't remember why, but I think I just decided it would look cleaner. It did actually look cleaner because I didn't actually add any drop shadow either at all to the out nows either. I thought, yeah, that's a cleaner look for those specific ones because it was such a light background. I thought the drop shadow looked better on a darker background. But again, it's just creative decisions, isn't it? But like I say, this one here, the Lose Your Mind to Find Your Soul one, it's got quite an abrupt difference there. I'm not really sure why. That's just me picking at things. I don't think it's that big a deal. If you was looking at that on a page, I don't think you're going to go. I mean, only because I've raised awareness to it now. I don't think most people would really care. You would just naturally be looking at the book and then you'd look at the title and stuff. You just, you know. So I'm not that picky with it. Of course, I can be a bit annoying to myself. For instance, I had all these banners done. It took me a while doing it all because, again, I'm putting it all on the website. And then I noticed this one here, Heal Your Mind, Free Your Soul, didn't have my name at the bottom. And I thought, okay, nah, just leave it. It's fine. But it bothered me because I thought all the others have my name attached to it, and it just seems stupid not to be promoting yourself at the same time. Like you put, because it's almost like people see it enough times they become who you are, and they, you know, maybe your name get a bit more relevant and things. So if you don't show yourself or you just show a name, like I've said before, you know, becoming a one person brand, we are the brand. You know, the things we do are an extension of us. So if you don't attach your name to those things, people will only know the brand. So think about Coca-Cola, for instance. Who runs Coca-Cola? I've got no idea. Who created Coca-Cola? I've got no idea. All I know is Coca-Cola. And that's great that Coca-Cola is known like that. You know, it's such a big brand. But if the person who created Coca-Cola attached their name strongly to the brand, you would know Coca-Cola is synonymous with the person. It's a bit like if you think of Tesla. What do you think of Tesla? Elon Musk. They go synonymously together, don't they? Elon Musk, Tesla. But if Elon Musk worked in the background and we didn't know who he was, we'd know the brand Tesla, but we wouldn't know who the hell creates it. So it's almost like a wasted opportunity. It's a missed chance, isn't it? And I just think it's important if you create something, attach your name to it, and then it's synonymous with it. So that's why I say like one person brand. Like you know, I can do a lot. That's what I'm getting at there. But it's the case of we make ourselves the product, you know? Yeah. But again, I think they look the people who are very creative and think they're very basic, and I'd say they are basic. It was I just did it in the night because I was working on my website at the same time, realized there was an area I really should be exploiting because I didn't want an artificial external Google adverts clogging up my website, causing havoc to the structure. And you can't guarantee what the images are, what the product is, what it's linking to, where it's sending it. I don't like all that. And I just thought, yeah, I don't want to be intrusive, invasive with it. I can just create my own little banner that's not overwhelming. It doesn't take away from the content you're watching or reading. And it's a way for me just to plug a gap and just say, look, check out my book's here, you know, have a look. And it's just, from a marketing point of view, I think it was useful. And then because I did it, I just thought, you know what, I think they're too cool to leave hidden. So I just put it on the front of my website, even though you can see the books. Do I even need to do that? But I was quite happy with them. So I just thought, you know what, let's just do it like little tiles. It's pretty cool. I think it's cool. And of course, now that I've got this all, it's almost like automated, isn't it? When I do my next book, I'll already have this all set out. Okay, I'll just do a mini version of the book, place it exactly over that book because that's how we're doing it. Again, I'll show that process. It's so simple. Actually, I don't know if we can. Yeah, I can because I've got a heartbroken daughter with me. Yeah. So let's say we go on Heartbroken Daughter. I think it's this one. I've got just, it's so small. You've got to just look for where the little dark spot is. So all we do is drag a Heartbroken Daughter, for instance, over to this one. And all I do is, it's behind it, unfortunately. We need to put it on front. Now, front? Yeah. All I do with that's the first item I move. I don't do anything else until I've done these. So I just get the book. And if I can't get it right, I just try my best with the keyboard. And of course, what we're doing as well, we're structuring it. So let's say it came in big. I always do that. Oh, you can't see at the top. At the top, there's a chain, it's a link. It always keeps the proportions intact. You don't want to skew it and squash it. So let's say it come in, it was huge. It'd be a lot bigger than this, by the way. I'd have to keep dragging and dragging and dragging until I can get it small enough. So we'd get it small enough that we think it's small. And then I'm going here, and I'm just adjusting it a little bit. It's never going to be 100%, but just where I'm comfortable. And then I lock it in. See, it's not quite right. Well, I'd have to do a little adjustment there. Let me just make it one step bigger. Again, like I said, it might not be 100%. And then all I do is go left, left, left until I'm on it, just because you can be a bit more precise with the keyboard. And if there's like an overlay, like either side, just try and get in the middle of it. So I'll go there then. And then once that's locked in, I can get rid of the original layer. You know, and then I'm working from there. So then I'll start working on the background. In fact, I go out now, and all I do with the out nows is duplicate it. So I would just go, for instance, let's say this didn't exist. It's on this one. Oh, I'll do it. It'd be an easy way of doing it, actually. Yeah, we'll do it this way. Let's say this was on a different layer, on a different part of the, because I've done this now where they're all segregated. So if you go here, look, you can see they're all lined up. So for instance, I can do this quite easy now. Look, let's say I want to do Heal Your Mind, Free Your Soul. The whole one's there. If I want to do Inspire Your Mind, it's there. So if I ever want to go back and do a quick edit, I can just do it from that. But as you can see with the out nows, all I did with the out now to make it as simple as possible, and I don't even have to move it then. All I did is duplicate it. Okay, duplicate. And then we've got two here, two listed. And you just drag it up, 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 outside the layer, outside the grouping. Oh, it's just gone funny now, haven't it? Why has it done that? Oh, I don't know why it's done this. Dragged it to the bottom. Right, so if we close this, for instance, now it's there. And I would just do the same with the overlay. Usually I've got them right next to each other, so I know that one's going to be the Amazon logo. Oh, pop-up screen on the other screen. So we just put them next to each other. So again, if I close this all the way down this layout, this is this book. Now we're working on a new book. So now they're in the same place. So that's why they conform. So when you go on that other part, it's all the same. And I can take them off and it's not moving an inch. And again, look, all of them. So if I come off that one now, just smart ways of working, you know. It's like, what if you could have done it different ways, dragging and moving it all around on the screen, but then how do you get them to conform? We want it to be the same. And that was important to me, that because I was having more than one on a page. If you had different, it's fine. But I think with the way your mind works, if it was to constantly be, I think switching around, it wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, I say there's people that work smarter than me. There's probably easier ways to do things and better ways to work, different practices. I mean, there's so much you can do. Like if you just go on My Father's Daughter, for instance, and we go, well, actually, this one's a bit more awkward because I've made the wordings all separate. Look, but again, you can group them into one section as well. But if we was to go, no, I haven't got the other one set up, have I? Have I? Yeah, this one would be easier. It's all one word. If I was to go here and go on Follow Your Dreams, I can. There's a shadow look at the back. It's making my name a little bit darker though. But you can just mess about with things, you know, like what you can't see there. I'll put it over here so you can see it. You just got different things, you know. You can do a stroke. So stroke adds like an outer perimeter to your work, to the writing, and that's quite mad. That's just a bit big, and then we can just make it smaller until you're happy with it. But I don't. In this instance, I mean, it could look all right, to be totally honest. I probably could have done a little bit. Would it look good? But then I think it looks slightly childish, but it makes it clearer. I like it in a sense, but I take it off. I mean, the writing's not as clear now, unfortunately. But what I don't like about that is it just makes it a bit too rough. It just makes it too stand out amongst all the rest of it. Like, I know it's good, but then it makes the books, it doesn't make the book stand out. But if I did the same with the book, it just starts to look, I just think it starts to look cartoonish if I start doing all this. Again, I think about everything. It's not like I haven't thought about it. I've got to try and find the layer now. I think it's this one. Again, look, I could do that. All of a sudden, you've done it with a book. And then maybe I change the color to black to make it match the other one. You can do all that, but again, does it start to look more cartoonish than serious? And it's a serious book. So is that something I really want for myself? I mean, you could do the same with the Out Now as well. Like if we go on Out Now, get that up, and then we can add it to that. I mean, just again make it smaller so it's more manageable. I mean, look, I don't know. Does that look better? I've got no idea. I mean, it's all personal preference, isn't it? I think it pops and you can read it very clear. But I just feel it's almost where you put a cartoon layer over things. That's what it feels like to me. So although it's clearer, I don't think it looks, in this instance, I don't think it looks better. If it was different content, maybe, but it's a serious book. I don't want it to feel like I'm doing a cartoon here. So I opted against those things. But again, it was all an option, of course. And I've just got to find a title. Yeah. So I decided to just make it simplified. There's so many things you can think about. You know, I could add all these layers. You can do all this. I could have just gone with a completely different background, of course. But for me, it just made sense to try to go as close to the original concept as possible. I think for continuity. But yeah, I mean, look, I would rather the writing stood out a little bit clearer than it is. But again, even that one pixel with the stroke, it was too abrupt for me. And then once you do it there, that was the problem. Once you do it on that one item, because now it's out of place, I have to do it on all the items. So now the book has to look different. Now the Out Now has to look different. Now all of a sudden everything's changing. So yeah, that's why I was trying to do the drop shadow. I was trying to just work with the drop shadow to get it better, but getting that to work is just doing my head in a little bit, to be totally honest, because it knocks off the other one. Although having said that, it's because I've got global light. So what happens if you use global light is if I make an adjustment to the angle, it makes an adjustment to every shadow on the project. But if we unlock it, it won't knock it. So like, for instance, see this shadow on the side of my book? I don't know if you can see that. It's clear. Let me actually go out and do that. Let me zoom in a minute. That'd be better. Bit blurry, but hey, it wouldn't normally be that close in a small image. So if we do this drop shadow on the writing, so we're trying to do it on the writing, but because we've got it locked to global light, it means everything changes. So if I change the angle of this now, that will change, because obviously it's the opposite angle. I would assume that shadow there is going to end up over here. Yeah. See that? It just switches. So it starts. So if you keep that locked, that you use global light, and let's say I think, oh, that looks better over here. Yeah, that looks nice because it's not blocking the color on that now. Look, when I do that one, it blocks the cut. It darkens that a little bit. But if we go over here, all of a sudden it doesn't. But then it shifts the shadow on there. And I prefer the shadow on the other side. But I mean, that's just preference. But if I was to do this, like if I was just to say, get rid of this little tick, that then shouldn't move with it. So if we move that there, this should go brighter and that shouldn't get touched. There you go. So I probably could just do that. I don't know what's better at the minute. I don't know. Maybe it looks better like that. I don't know. But again, these little things you just pick up along the way. You know, you just sometimes trial and error. I say there's going to be things that I'm not even familiar with and I don't do. I mean, there's so many things. If you just look at this, inner shadow, it just shows what it does. Look, outer glow makes it bloomy. Inner glow took all the color off me blinking writing. Don't want that. Bevel emboss adds. From my understanding, but it adds like texture. Unless that's the satin one. I think it is this one because you can add contours here, look, and texture. Oh, there's texture there, look. So you can just add things to it. And again, there's the features, of course. If you click it, it's going to give you options. So there's all sorts of things you can do. Color, of course, makes it easier to one-tone it, but I didn't want that. Gradients. And then the stoke, of course. Stoke's usually quite good, but it depends on what you're trying to do. You know, I think for this theme, for this what I'm trying to accomplish, it wasn't doing any favors at all. I might go with that shadow thing I was doing there. Take the global layer off and just do that maybe. I think that probably looks better. It does, doesn't it? It pops. It actually pops. I might make that the actual saved file now. So I might change. So we've got this now. It looks more poppy, doesn't it? I think it does. Compared to the one that exists at the moment. It's a bit dark there. You can't really see my name. And again, what it's all about branding. We need to be branding ourselves. So that makes sense. Now I do that one. You can see my name. So that I'll update that now. Of course, I've messed about with all these writing, I think. But I think I've matched it as close to the original since I've changed things. Yeah, it's good. But I thought I'd show that, really, the process that it took me to get these done. Like I said, this seems to be the only one that's a bit iffy with that bold line there. But if that's, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think that's just me being picky at this point. But yeah, so but what's good there, like I say, when I do my next books and things, it's almost automated. It's the same way I do my book covers now. Because I've already got a template that I work with, when I do a new cover, it just goes over that. So I know the dimensions, make sure it snaps close to this, make sure the spine's fitting. Because they're usually similar sized book size. It's like pages. So it just makes my process easier because I've got all the borders, for instance. What it means is everything must be in the blue lines. Any writing images needs to be in the blue lines because otherwise you're going to get like where the book closes. So you might get caught in the spine. It might get cut off in print. So just make sure it doesn't go anywhere near that line, and then you're in a safe boundary. But of course, make sure you have print overlap in it just in case. So that's what I do. It's just as long as I've got that and I know what I'm working with, so I know I've got my space here. How do I want to write the title? And then how do I want to do the back? Now, the only thing that bothers me here is I like this to be, what do you call it? Justified. So I prefer it where the text is all straight, like straight both sides. But the version of Photoshop I have doesn't have that feature. It's only got left, right, and middle. It's just stupid. It hasn't got the justified feature. So I can't do it without doing a text file and making it an image and then putting an image as text. I don't know how good the quality. I'm worried the quality of the text wouldn't work. And I might be wrong, but it's not something I'm prepared to risk for the sake of keeping it justified. So as much as I want that justified text, I wouldn't want that text to be blurry. So I've had to take a hit to say, look, I'm within my own means, without risking it all. I don't want to risk blurry text for the sake of keeping it straight and conformed, because most people probably won't even care anyway. So, but you care if it's blurry. People care if it's blurry. That's going to be really important. But I just thought I'd show that process. Hopefully it's been useful to people. Like I said, started off with a huge headache because I'm going to have to order a new copy of this now because I don't want dodgy copies of my book, But I guess it makes it an out of print anomaly. Goof. But yeah, anyway, hope that's been interesting.